Cool. Well, thank you again, Joanne, for joining us and congratulations on your award. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do for a living?
Okay, so as I said, I'm Joanne Kimutai. I'm Kenyan. Um, I have a background in biotechnology. I have a first degree in biotechnology and a master's degree in plant breeding and biotechnology. I'm currently doing my PhD at the University of Ghana, West Africa Center for Crop Improvement.
How did you get into science?
Okay, yeah, I think I loved science from way back in my primary school, and I hoped to become a doctor, a medical doctor for that matter. But like many people, I think I didn't meet the
I think that
performance. After getting into biotechnology, I still had the hope of getting into, medicine and maybe doing medical biotechnology and going into that field of research in medicine. But then there was an admission process at the University of Nairobi, and there was an option of medical biotechnology and plant breeding and biotechnology. So I found myself in a situation where getting into the whole field would be something new. So I went an extra mile in every course, in physiology, in biometrics, in every single course, in genetics, something that I had not really majored in. And in the process, I think I really loved the whole thing.
Can you describe your research more in depth for us, please?
Yes, please. So my research basically is about resistance to maize resistance to a parasitic weed called striga. So in sub-Saharan Africa, the striga is really causing havoc in terms of yield losses. And the yield losses, as from the literature, have been estimated to around $7 to $10 billion annually. So the people who suffer really the most are the smallholder farmers. I went into the literature and realized that quite an amount of research has been done on the same, but mainly in West Africa by IITA. And I felt there is a gap to be addressed within East Africa. Fortunately, when I got to CIMIT, I found that there's an ongoing project on the same, on Striga. And so I just joined the Striga, the Global Maize Program, to work on Striga as part of the objectives of the program.
if you were talking to somebody like, let's say, a stranger or somebody that doesn't know science or doesn't know too much about science, what would you tell them? Like, what are some possible impacts for your work or of your work?
Okay, so for what I am doing currently, I think it would really impact on the community in a positive manner. Why? Because if we have host resistance or host tolerance of maize to striga, if they tolerate, then it means in as much as there are striga plants, then the yield will be increased. Yeah, or if we have host resistance, then it means the farmer will not have to be abandoning their land and going elsewhere, but they will be able to get this seed that they can plant, and ultimately they can have their yield. Because at the end of the day, what the farmer needs is yield. So you will want to provide a hybrid or varieties that are actually farmer friendly in the manner that they can use their little resources, but still they can achieve more in terms of yield. So I think by coming up with varieties that are resistant to striga or that are tolerant to striga, I'll be helping the farmers actually to maximize on their yields while they use the best seed. Yeah, the other thing is that mostly for striga, you can use integrated pest management options, but mostly the farmers will find them very expensive. So if I can come up with a host-resistant, host-tolerant maize hybrid, I think this is a plus for a farmer because they don't have to put more into it, but at the end of the day, they get more.
What would you consider your biggest challenge in the workplace?
My biggest challenge at workplace, I think, is mainly there's so much expectation. As a PhD student, I'm expected to read much and to know much, to explore a lot. So most of the time when I get to a point, I get stuck and I want to ask questions. There's that you don't want to ask too much because you will look like you are over dependent instead of trying to explore and look for information for yourself and maybe ask whenever you just get stuck. And then the other challenge is that I'm learning quite a number of new things. I've never been in a work environment like where I am right now. So learning to integrate with people and trying to fit in is quite challenging, though I'm managing.
What are some ways you think scientists can improve their communications about their results to the community?
The best way to communicate is first to make sure that you take into account the farmer needs. You have your science, you have your technology, you have all the machinery and everything. But then if it doesn't have a positive impact on the end user, then it doesn't make sense, because we can come up with so many hybrids, so many varieties, and put them in the shelves, and at the end of the day, the farmer will not buy it. If we come up with materials or products that are actually very good for farmers, then we should involve them in the development of these products. I would say maybe participatory variety selection or participatory plant breeding, or participatory rural appraisal, those kind of programs where you want to involve the farmer at every step of the way, so that now adoption becomes very easy.
Can you tell us someone who has been a big influence or a great mentor to your life?
Every step of the way in my career development, I've had someone to look up to, and in terms of mentorship, and I've had someone to take me by the hand and move me step by step. Dr. Dan Makumbi has actually transformed my way of thinking in terms of real science. I think to a great extent, I had more of theory than the practicals. But when I came to CIMMYT, I've had to go right into the field, get into the breeding designs, laying down trials, screening, selection, and all these kinds of things in breeding. So I think he has really taken me through step-by-step process to ensure that I grow in terms of my career. He really pushes me to achieve the best. The other person I really look up to is Professor Eric Dankwa, is the director and the founder of West Africa Center for Crop Improvement. I think I tend to admire the how he does his work, how he gets to disseminate, to communicate what he does in the center in terms of science, and the way he tries to get funding and get students, and he's really very good at it. The other person I really look up to is Dr. Carol Libe. I wouldn't forget about her, definitely. I find her being aggressive and passionate about improving agriculture in Africa. And so she's really doing very well when she's thinking about feeding Africa by empowering people, young scientists. I think by so doing is really uplifting, the food security in Africa.
How has the PCA-JR Biotek Mentorship Program impacted you?
Wow. So this is a program that has really been a game changer in my career life. Why? Because I think the idea of coming up with mentors to guide the students was a brilliant idea. Because when I was given the two mentors, Dr. Michelle and Dr. Tim, I think the whole program was whole-rounded. It wasn't more of academic, and it touched on all over. Like, I felt it really impacted on me because it has shaped me wholeheartedly. Because one, I learned about writing, I learned about presentation. I wasn't good at presentation, by the way. I'm not good yet, I know. But then I feel like I've really improved in terms of how I can present my work, how I can talk, public speaking. It also touched into, diversity. It touched on career development in terms of selling myself in social media like LinkedIn, and coming up with my CV. And, I've really improved a lot. So it has positively impacted on me. And I hope it has impacted positively on the rest of the cohort also, because I have learned a lot by myself. The mentors were really on point, and they guided me step by step. I also think the program was very good, not only the mentorship program, but also the training part. So it has really been holistic, coming from training to mentorship, and the mentorship being holistic. And, networking has been very, very key. I've managed to get to know quite a number of people through my mentors, Tim and Michelle. And I've managed to, network with my other colleagues. And I've also gotten to know you people. So I think it's been nice networking, yeah.
I actually have one more question for you, Joanne. I'm curious, what is your hope for your future? Like, what would you like to see your next step in your career be, or are you still in the middle of a postdoc?
Okay, so I'm looking at myself having completed my PhD in the next 1 year. I'm hoping to get into work, into a breeding program, and put my hands on, the breeding process, trying to come up with varieties, improved varieties for the sake of food security, not only in Africa, but globally. I'm also looking into a postdoc, if possible. If I can get a postdoc, which maybe, God willing, in the middle of the year, once I have my write-up done, I can do the application or something like that. So I'm looking into that. But for now, I'm passionate about genomics, about the whole area of, trying to look into the genome and trying to look how we can use the marker data to accelerate plant breeding and improve on genetic gains while we reduce the cycle time. So what I would really love the most would be get more and more of, I'm looking for an opportunity for training on genomic selection, on genomic prediction, genomic selection and genomic prediction, on genome-wide association studies, just to understand the models and, to understand what really goes into the whole thing. How is it helping us to reduce the cycle time and increase genetic gains in coming up with improved crops for food security? So I'm looking into that. And if I got an opportunity to work in a lab where I can get some large data sets and work on it and try to make meaning out of it, then that would be great. But I look at myself and at a point where I need to contribute together with other stakeholders, definitely, to improved food security. Yes. Or maybe before you stop.
Yes.
So please allow me to thank a few people. Yeah, so I want to thank you people for having me here. Thank you to Dr. Carol Libe for the opportunity to get the training last year and even through the mentorship program. I want to thank my mentors, Tim and Michelle. I want to thank my CMIT supervisor, Dr. Dan Makumbi. I want to thank my institute, West Africa Center for Crop Improvement, and my University of Ghana. So I want to thank all of them for their contribution towards my career. And Thank you very much, Plant Cell Atlas, for having me here.